I never know how to start off a video, you know? It's like, hey guys, good morning, welcome back YouTube. So I haven't done a video on this truck. All of my videos have just been our adventures. I figured it was about time to do one just about the truck. So I'll go over why I bought this one, the issues that I've had with it, and what I've done to it since I bought it. I've owned it for about 5 years. It's a 2017 Colorado ZR2. I bought it with 60,000 miles on it. I'm up to 120 right now. And this right here is probably what I would consider my final build. Like everything that was on my wish list, this is kind of where it's landed. That doesn't mean I won't do other stuff. It's just those were above and beyond kind of what I had imagined for this vehicle when I bought it. I bought the Colorado ZR2 because I wanted a mid-size truck. Prior to this one, I had a Silverado full-size truck. It was an extended cab. I've got a family of 4, so I wanted a full-size cab vehicle. This is not a roomy vehicle, but it strikes the balance of I can fit my whole family and I can do tight Colorado trails. As to why I bought a Colorado over a Tacoma or a Ford Ranger, a couple of reasons. One, this came stock with front lockers. That was huge for me. Another reason was it actually had the largest cab out of all the mid-sized trucks available on the market at the time. Since I've owned the truck, I've had a few issues above and beyond maintenance. The first one that I ran into was I had to get my 4-wheel drive actuator replaced. I went through a pretty deep stream crossing on a trail, and after that trail, it wouldn't come out of 4-low. And then periodically after that, it wouldn't shift in or out of 4-wheel drive at all. So I got the 4-wheel drive actuator replaced. A very common issue on these trucks that I also had happen to me is the CV boot had ripped and grease was going everywhere. I ended up just replacing the whole front axle. I've replaced the engine coolant temp sensor. Oil cooler line was leaking, and so I had that replaced. My AC went out, so I had the whole AC compressor replaced. And then the DSSV shocks, part of the upgrade, but those did start leaking and just kind of quit working altogether. So that was part of the reason for the upgrade. So all in all, not a ton of issues, but a handful. Probably somewhat expected for a vehicle with as many miles as I have on this one. But those are the real issues that I've had above and beyond just regular maintenance. Now, the fun stuff. So what I've done to the truck. If you're new to the platform, this is not in its stock form. That may be pretty obvious. There it is. The very first thing I did when I bought the truck was equipped it with skid plates throughout. I bought the AEV skids for underneath, transfer case, transmission skid, fuel tank skid. The last skid that I did not buy immediately was the rear diff. I did buy that one last year, finally. With the skids, I also bought the 589 shock skid. Second thing I did was the Trifecta Tune. I just remember even on 33s, you'd push the gas pedal down and it didn't want to upshift and get to higher RPMs. It would just stick at like 3,500, gas pedal all the way down, and it just didn't want to go. So I knew it needed a tune to kind of help open that up, downshift, and actually get somewhere. The third thing I did was install the Prinsu roof rack. When I did that, I installed the LED light bar and the aux beam 6-gang switch to control it. Around the same time, I also bought the ditch lights and the Cali Raised LED ditch light brackets. So after I bought the Prinsu roof rack, I've had variations of what I've had on top. Right now I've got the Rome, I believe it's the 66 liter box. I've got 2 of them. One has recovery gear and the other has tools and parts and miscellaneous items, tire repair kit, etc. Next thing I did was add the CBI Covert Bumper and the Badlands winch from Harbor Freight. It's the 12,000 pound with a synthetic rope. When I bought the truck, it came with a sports bar and the lights that came on top of it. When I put the Prinsu roof rack on, I had taken all of that off. And so I still had those lights. And when I mounted this Covert Bumper, I put those lights on either side of the winch. So those are tucked in under the grill there. And I already had the aux beam panel to be able to just simply tie into and control those. Next thing I did was bought the Yakima bed rack and the iCamper. I actually bought both of those off like Facebook Marketplace. Saved a ton of money, but they were in great shape and totally worth the buy. When I added the extra weight, I went ahead and bought the Peak add-a-leaf for the rear. The rear shocks were also shot at this point, so I bought the King shocks, the adjustable King shocks. And then this year was kind of the last big part of the build. I bought the Peak coilover suspension in the front. When I did that, they are extended travel, so I also needed new upper control arms. So I bought the Peak Billet upper control arms. Those control arms are a little bit beefier and wider than the stock one, and so that also required that I do an offset or a skinnier tire. I didn't want to go skinnier tire, I wanted to go bigger. So I bought the Method 701s. They have a 0 offset. Stock is plus 33, so that moved it out somewhere between 1.25 inches and 1.5 inches. And then I went to 35s. To fit those, I loosely followed the AEV Highmark template, trimming both the front and rear all the way around. I still rub a little bit on the pinch weld inside the wheel well, but it's worked pretty well so far. I just took some cheap edge trim from Amazon and put it along that cut edge.
So the last thing I forgot to mention while I was recording that video, which is last but not least, I had finished it right before the trip where I'd recorded that, was getting new gears installed. So I had the Revolution 410 gears installed, and that was the last big upgrade. Revolution gears are the only option on the market for us right now, so I didn't have much of a choice. I knew it needed to be re-geared, and so I went with 410s to kind of strike the balance of fuel economy at highway speeds but give it some more torque. This is my daily driver, so I'm trying to balance the best of both worlds.
A few other just miscellaneous items. Those are the real build items, but I also have Diode Dynamics LED bulbs in the headlights. I've got the miscellaneous accessories such as the roto packs. The Yakima has some different mounts on the sidebars for different attachments. So on the other side, I've got some traction boards, just some cheap ones. They're not name brand or anything. I've used them a handful of times in the snow and they still work. So that's more or less what I've done to the truck in a nutshell. I may still do some tweaks here and there, but this is kind of what I call the final build, what I had envisioned and wanted. And it's a pretty capable little truck. It's not a Jeep, but I can go 75 down the highway, no problem. So pros and cons to each. Thanks for watching. There we go.